What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration. Today, obviously, we have a Jeep in the garage again. We do a fair amount to Jeeps in here. It seems like lately anyway. It's a 2012 Wrangler Unlimited Sahara. I was going to say Sierra, but it's a Sahara. Anyway, it's already got some add-ons on it. Of course, it's got a hood, it's got some lights, it's got some exhaust on it. But today we're actually putting on some rock slide power steps. We got one of them pulled out of the box here. It's sitting there. It looks like it's very heavy, so it definitely adds some weight. We got the other one over here, and let's get started. We'll get this thing put up on the lift. First thing we need to do is obviously pull those old steps off, and then we'll get started on installing these. They're power, so they do have some wires to be run. I think there's an override switch that goes inside, and there's a light kit also. So let's get up on the lift and get started. With the Jeep up in the air, now let's actually, obviously we already have one out of the box, but this one's still in the box, so let's just do a quick unboxing and show you how they come when you receive them. Someone already pulled the lid off just to inspect it, but it has not been taken out yet. So when you open the box up, this is what you get. They package them pretty nice. They have end caps here in like a foam, one in the middle to support it, and another one there. Here is a box that's labeled electronics, so we're going to assume that's what's inside. Okay, so there's your module and wiring harness and all that type of thing. So this, when you get them, the left and the right will have different boxes inside. This one has the electronics in it. If we come back up here to this box that we already opened, this one has the hardware kit in it, JK4 brackets. So here's paperwork, nuts and bolts, brackets. Everything seems to be really nice quality so far from what I've seen. Everything's painted pretty nice. See how it holds up, and see how it installs. But there's not much to unboxing it. Actually, over here, here's the light kit. It's just a get you into some light so you can see it. It's a LED light kit. It's just two-sided tape. We got little LED pods or whatever you call these, diodes. So that should be fairly simple. Obviously, we're gonna have to run some wiring. They do have this little protector. Again, it's two-sided tape. It's like, I think it's plastic, and then it's got a rubber weather stripping piece. I think this is to protect the body. So this goes on the body to keep that from scuffing your paint, I believe. We'll find out here shortly. We actually don't get directions with this. So in the paperwork, it tells you to go to their website, which is kind of new, but I'm sure a lot of companies are going to start doing this so they don't have to print them out. So I have my phone out. We have that address there. I'll go ahead and tap on that. And, that sucks. So it says page not found. Page not found on server. So it's their website, takes you to their website, but there's an error. So I guess we're gonna have to go through and search and try and find these instructions. All right, so after trying it a couple times, I went inside and tried it on my tablet. That doesn't work either. And I finally got it to come up on my laptop. So now I have the laptop drug out here in the garage, which I don't really like. But whatever, we gotta get it done. And if I type in that address, it comes up the same thing. So what we end up having to do is go to support. I'll hold over here so you can see. So support, we'll go down and find that number. So it's the BDSS 200JK4. We'll click on that, and that will now load. So it'll take a second. Again, we're out here in the garage, so the Wi-Fi is not as strong. Kind of sucks. I mean, it'd be much easier with written, printed instructions. I mean, I understand why they don't do it, but these things are not cheap. So I would think they could spare a couple bucks and print them. But so here's finally our installation instructions. So we'll just kind of go through the first of it is just kind of an overview, and then we get into steps. So first couple steps, let's get them knocked out and I'll get you caught back up. All right, I ran into my second, I guess, complaint on the directions. First of all, you can't get to them without having a laptop or desktop. So the second complaint is going to be they don't tell you, I mean, they assume you don't have steps at all on your Jeep. So I guess that may be minor, but it would be nice to tell you how to remove your factory steps for someone that just does not know how to do it. They do recommend going to the driver's side, but we have to do it on both sides, and this side's right here. So pretty much what you have to do is there's 3 bolts per bracket. There's 3 brackets. We're going to remove all of them, and then this step will pull off. Once we get that off, and then we can remove these brackets completely from the Jeep. So there's a bolt here, a bolt there, or a stud with a nut on the back side, and then there is a bolt here. Once we get those off and out of the way, then we can move on from there. All right, I'll get you back up to speed here. We got all these brackets off. You might need some penetrating fluid. Keep in mind it is a Jeep, so most bolts get rusty on Jeeps. So we have all the brackets off, both sides. Let's go to the driver's side because that's where they want you to start. So all the brackets are off. We took that bolt and that bolt out, which makes this bottom of this fender loose. We also loosened up the body mounts on this side. There's 1, 2, and 3. We back them up, and now we're ready to start sliding brackets, mounting brackets for the new bars on. Now with these brackets, there are 6 brackets, of course 3 for each side. You have a long one, a short one, and a tall one. This one's a lot taller than these. So a long, short, and tall. I forget which one goes where. Let's look here real quick. So rear is long bracket, so it's long, short, and then tall in the front. So we'll grab our 3 brackets and get them slid on the bolts. And they just slide right on. There's a slot in the bracket. It goes in between the washer and the head of the bolt. So you just slip them right on. Next step here, we're putting these seals. They call them some kind of strap. I don't know what they call them, but they're plastic and they have a rubber seal on them. There's double-sided tape, so pretty much you test fit it. Come back here, there's a little notch that points down and it lines up with this body seam here. And then right here where the Jeep actually angles back in under the doors, that's where you want to line it up. Once you have that located, you just pull the backing off and stick that onto the body. So now we're ready to actually grab the step and throw it up on here. It's got studs that will stick through here, here, and then of course up front there, and then we can use our hardware to attach it here, but the studs will hang it there. Now one word of caution is these things do have a good bit of weight, so definitely be careful. You know, you don't whack the side of the body, put a dent in it or scratch it. You may need 2 people. I think I can handle it here. Being up on a lift, it's kind of right eye level, but definitely be prepared for it to have some weight. And again, guys, as far as I can see, these are not marked left and right, which would actually be nice. But if you look at them, right here's the set of 4 bolts, here, here, and up here. If you match that up, obviously these 2 here are closer together. From here to here is a further different distance. And if you look at the mounting points on the Jeep, you can easily see which side's driver's and passenger. But again, it would be nice if they marked them, take some of the guesswork out. We got the driver's side hanging on there. One thing I did forget to mention is the wiring here, and we'll show you on this side. The wiring harness is tucked inside here, so you just grab it and tuck it through. You flip this around. There's a hole here, so it just comes through the inside. This is a lot easier if you have two hands, but it just pops right through there and folds out of the way. So we'll get this side thrown up on the passenger side. Again, here's the studs. There's 2, 2, and 2, and these just allow this whole setup here to hang on that inner rocker structure, and then we can go ahead and put our bolts in these bottom. Now we're down to actually bolting these on. This is the window for the inner rocker studs that are already attached. So we're going to put stainless steel washers and nuts. There are two different sizes. So there's 2 1/4-20 nylock nuts and washers, and they go on the second bolt. Let's see here. Second bolt in the front window and the second bolt in the second window. So 2 per side, and then the rest of them are 5/16-18 bolts and stainless washers. Now they do pack all this together, so hopefully you're not colorblind. You can see the stainless ones because they're shiny silver, and the other ones are like a gold plated. So we'll go ahead and get all that mounted up, and they say to go ahead and somewhat snug them like halfway, just to hold the bars on there until you get the rest of this hardware on, and then we can snug it all up. So you're going to use a 1/2 inch and a 7/16 socket, and you're going to torque the 5/16 or the 1/2 inch socket or wrench to 18 foot-pounds, and the 1/4 inch or 7/16 socket or wrench to 9 foot-pounds. I found it easier to use these ratcheting wrenches, and you just go up through this pocket, this access pocket here. And it worked really well. It's really hard to get a socket on, especially the back ones, but I'm sure it's doable. But this worked really good and went quick. These bottom bolts, I believe they're 1/2 inch also. There's 4 here at each mounting spot, and they all get torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. So make sure you torque all that stuff down per manufacturer's request. And the last thing we have to do is tighten the body mounts up, and I believe they go to 80 foot-pounds. Let's scroll down here and see. Yes, so tighten, yeah, 5/16 using a 1/2 inch to 18 foot-pounds, and body bolts go last, and they are at 80 foot-pounds. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I think we'll be moving on to our, well, let's scroll down and see. Yeah, so we're moving on to our wiring after that. At this point, guys, I don't think I'm going to need the lift anymore, so we're just going to let the Jeep completely down, get the lift arms out of the way, and probably back it up just so I can have more access inside. We have to remove some carpeting, floor mats, and some side panels, and run some wiring. Again, the directions as I'm laying this down, the directions are a little vague. It tells you to run a harness connected to the battery, pull the fuse, run it across the firewall, zip tie it up, and then run, well, across the engine bay, I'm sorry. Across the engine bay and then into the firewall, but it doesn't really tell you. This is the only picture of running through the firewall, so we'll have to find a spot through there. I'm assuming it's pretty self-explanatory, but again, they could be a little bit more detailed as far as that goes. So once we get that done, get these side panels off and the carpet pulled back, there's a larger harness, which is over here. It's kind of laid out. It's got a nice loom and stuff. It looks like a nice quality harness. So we'll get that stretched out. It has to run under the carpet in front of the back seat and to the other side, and we have to go through the little plugs in the floor. But let's get this run, and we'll keep showing you as we go. This is gonna, here's the harness. I kind of stretched it out. It's a small harness, just a hot and a negative. We'll get that bolted down. We'll get the rest of it zip tied up, and then figure out where we're going to go through the firewall. All right, so there is a plug in the firewall. It's right beside the booster. It's a hole with some other stuff. I don't know if the wires they're running through there now, whether that's factory or aftermarket, because it does have some accessories on it. But it's easy to push this right through that hole. So we'll go inside here and pull that through. While we're in here, again, remove your floor mats. This kick panel comes out. I'll show you real quick outside here so you can see. There's a push tab there, one there, and another one right there. Goes down through the top. This whole thing comes out, and then we still have to remove this center trim piece, and it's pretty much the same thing. There's a couple push tabs. It's pretty much self-explanatory. There's one here, one there, and there's probably some in the back there, but just I mean, it's a Jeep. They come apart easy, so get them out of your way. We already have some factory wiring here. We'll run our new harness down through here and across, and we'll be good to go. Might as well show you how to remove this panel too. It's a little bit of a fight. There's another push tab here, one here in the back, and of course we already saw the one there and one there in the front. If you pull this front panel loose, then there's another alignment pin here, and I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So there's an alignment pin here that kind of snaps in the back there, and then to get the seatbelt out, there's actually a slice in it. It's made to do that. So once you get that out, then it's still a little bit of a fight, but you can kind of just wiggle and pull that and it'll come out. So once we get that out of there, we're good to start running our wiring. I believe we have to fold this carpet up. Again, Jeeps are made to take apart, so all this carpet is split to come right around the brackets. This doesn't look like it's been out before, so it's not actually broke. So we'll have to actually separate it and pull that through. But so I did get a flashlight here, and if we go inside here, there you can see the plug in the firewall and my wire sticking through. So we'll grab them and pull them the rest of the way, and then fish them down through this kick panel and up through this open spot here. All right, so we have our harness routed. We have the big harness in the back seat here. Get some light. And the smaller leads that run up front, we have under the seat belt where there's a factory harness there anyway. We run it in the same direction. Get some light here. And we ran both leads. There's two leads here. One of them will plug directly into the one we just installed across the engine compartment that comes through a firewall, and the other one is I'm not sure where it connects yet, but it has some spade terminals there and a ground strap. So both of these, I believe, come up front here. It should. Obviously these are going to plug into there. That's going to power it, and we'll tuck all these back behind the kick panel and this trim piece, and then we'll move in the back. We have to pull the carpet, remove the body plug on this side, put the wires down through, because here is the connector. So with this carpet pulled up and out of the way, all the way across the back seat here, now we can see our body plugs. So that's where our wiring is going to run through. So we'll pull these plugs out, and we'll make a slice in them for the wires to go through, and then reinstall them. All right, again, this a little bit of a fight just to get all this wiring in order. I did run the main harness under the seat. They're not real clear, but it looks like they want you to run it in front of the seat, but there's plenty there. So I just ran it behind the seat. Hopefully that doesn't cause an issue. Here's the plugs. I made a slice. Our wiring is now hanging on both sides. And now we just have, I think these are door jamb switches. So there's going to be one for the front, one for the back to activate the bars. And we have to mount some little switches right here under the latch. All right, continuing on here, we did get our wires routed. So it's pretty easy. You just run your wires under the carpet. The front door jamb switches is what I'm talking about. one comes back to the back door jamb. The switch, just two-sided tape, goes right under the latch here. There is a little like foam sticky back piece I used on there. They weren't real clear on how to put that, but to me that looks good. Keeps that wire up out of place and keeps it from getting pinched. The front wire kind of routes behind this plastic piece. You don't really have to take that off. There is an access panel in here, and that's how you unplug for your back doors when you take them off. So you can reach through with that. So once you run that wire through, like I said, through that access panel, you can easily fish that through. We'll walk around to the front, and as you can see, we have our switch mounted there also, again with that little foam seal that just kind of keeps it from getting pinched in this panel. So once you have those mounted, two-sided tape is all it takes. To activate it on the door side, it's these little round magnets. They are sticky back on one side, but I don't think you would really need it because they, after all, are magnets. So, but this two-sided tape might help them stick a little bit. You do have to line these up, and a lot of issues with these not working proper is the magnet not properly lined up to the sensor. So we might have to fine-tune them later, but so far we have these mounted. If we go to the driver's side, we do have our door jamb switches mounted. On this side, they mount better with the wire coming this way. I mean, it looks upside down from the passenger side, but we can just adjust our magnet on the outside just so it lines up. Here is the magnets I was talking about. They come in a little plastic container and they're all stuck together, so they can be a little challenging to get apart. But these actually came apart really easy. With that off, like I said, there is two-sided tape. We'll pull that off, stick it to the door where it looks like it's going to line up in that door jamb to activate that switch. All right, see if we can get a light set up here. So on the inside, we do have this bracket. Let me pull it outside so you can see it a little better. It's this bracket. There is two bolts on the inside here that go to your strap, your door strap. I took them all the way out. You don't have to, because this is slotted. But this switch, this bracket will mount right here. This other set of wires, let's get the light here. This other set of wires fishes through that bracket, and then there is a rocker switch here. And that activates and deactivates. So if you don't want your bars steps to activate when you open your door, you can turn them off. So let's get that mounted up there. There is a ground wire too. And of course, there's a factory ground wire, one there, one there. We're going to use the closest one. We have that nut backed off. So we'll get this all bolted up and show you how it looks. So we have our switch bracket mounted. We have our wiring plugged in. There's a ground wire, which is a different color terminal. And then there's two hot wires. We have our, so that's plugged in. Our switch is pushed into the bracket and our ground wire is hooked up. And pretty much that's it for the wiring inside the Jeep. The only thing we have to do is mount our, over there, our relay box under the passenger side rear seat. Plug that in and mount it. They don't really give you any mounting hardware for that. It just, let's run over here and look. So here is our relay box. We have it plugged in. It does have a little tab off of it. You could put a screw, but I guess they just assume it's going to sit here fine. I'm not sure if we'll mount that or not, but it will go under the carpet. There's a recess down here that'll make it a little bit more out of the way. So that sticks there. We'll route our wiring so you can't see anything, and get this carpet pushed back down. We'll get all of our panels put back on over there, so that center panel will snap back on, and it's just reverse procedure. All the little push tabs, we have them in the cup holder here. They just snap right back into place. And then we'll get our kick panel and our little skid plate, whatever you, it's part of the kick panel, but all this goes back on, hides all that wiring, makes it nice and neat. We have our panels all snapped in, hides all the wiring nice and neat. Of course, our switch is up here. Let's throw our fuse back in that we took out as we were hooking it up. They do supply that. It's a 20 amp fuse. It goes in the harness here, and see if it works. The door shut. The system is armed. So we open the door, and nice. They are extremely fast too. Nice. That's sweet. Nice and sturdy. Very sturdy, actually. I'm jumping on it and they're not really flexing at all. Gives you a nice little step for the back seat here too. And again, we'll shut the door. It takes just about, I don't know, a second and a half, 2 seconds when you shut the door, which is about what you want. But opening the door, it's almost instant. By the time you have the door open, the step is down. So we'll make sure our back door works too. Yep. Nice. Now we'll check the other side, make sure it's working proper. Yep, right down on the back door. Front door, right down. Nice. When that steps up, it looks just like a normal rock slider. Well, maybe not a normal rock slider. It is kind of wide, but it does matches up pretty nice to the at least the back fender flare. Front fender flare is in a little bit, but it still matches up nice. There's a nice even gap. The strips we put on, it has a foam strip. It just kind of fills that gap in. You wouldn't want these extremely close to the body to where they would come in contact. So they put this foam strip on here to kind of fill in that gap and make a nice finished look. So now all we got to do is mount the LED light strips, figure out where they go, and we'll get all these wires tied up, and that installation should be complete. Actually, one more thing I forgot. In the directions, it does tell you to go ahead and put this bolt back that we removed earlier. So there was actually two we removed. You can only access this front one. So we'll go ahead and tighten these back up. So there's one here, one on the driver's side. Got her back up in the air. Got all of our wires tied up nice and secure. They don't really give you anything to do this, but I just put some zip ties on there around this inner bracket, and that seems to be plenty secure. With everything hooked up, we got our lights installed too. As you can see, they're instant on. They're, again, in the directions, they does not tell you exactly where to mount these, but we put them on one there shining out, and that seems to be a good spot for them. All right, guys, that completes the installation of the rock slide engineering power steps. They are very nice pieces, very heavy duty, I would say. Fit nicely. They do take a little bit to get on there and situated, but yeah, anyone can do it. If you got a little bit of mechanical knowledge. The biggest issue I had with them was with the directions. They weren't real clear. It wasn't so much a problem for me, but if you were a beginner, maybe, you might have some issues trying to follow and decipher exactly what to do and when. So the directions could definitely use some work, and accessing the directions was a little bit of a pain, but that's has nothing to do with the product itself. Like I said, it's a very nice, solid, heavy-duty unit. They should hold up good. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.